Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode in Adventures of Comprehension. My name is Ciera Harris. I am the author at Ciera Harris Teaching. So I'm so excited to be here tonight with you. But tonight we're going to be talking all about 10 different things that impact a student's comprehension. First is, and this is one that I hope that we would all know, but of course it's students' background knowledge. Their schema and the knowledge that they have from their life experiences and what they bring to that story, right? We could have two completely different passages, present them both to the same student, and if they have schema for one but not the other, their comprehension for the one they have schema on clearly is going to be a deeper level of comprehension. When we're picking passages and we're picking things to do in our classroom, it's really important to remember and know our students and think about what do they have content knowledge for, because that's going to be helpful for us and for them when we're trying to also have them do strategies and learn skills and practice skills on these passages. Next on the list is motivation. A student's motivation absolutely is directly correlated with whether or not they are comprehending, right? Their level of interest. What level of interest do they have in that book? If they are matched with the right book, meaning it's a book that they are interested in, that they want to read, that makes them happy, they're going to read that book. We need to get to know our readers. We need to know what they like, what they don't like, what motivates them. And then when we find the right book, they're not going to need to build stamina. They're going to have it because they want to read it. Third on the list, voice and choice. So this one kind of goes along with motivation, but basically what that means is students' ability to choose what they read. If a student can choose what they read, what is increasing? Their motivation to read it, right? And it doesn't mean, yes, you're probably allowing your students to choose whatever book from your library. But there are a few things that I know happen in classrooms everywhere. One is making students read independently on their reading level, making them only choose from the K basket or the L basket or the M basket, right? Students should be able to choose to read whatever they want to read, whether it's too easy or too hard. Sometimes it's going to be that too hard book that's going to motivate them to push through it and grow as a reader. But if we're limiting them, if we're not giving them actual choice in the matter of picking the books, then they're going to become discouraged. They're going to see that level as a part of their identity, and it's going to be very discouraging to them. Another area to think about student choice and voice is when you're picking passages for your everyday comprehension lessons. When, for example, you're doing a main idea and detail comprehension lesson, and maybe you've got a graphic organizer that you want the students to fill out, and you found a great article again about turtles for them to read, why not find two more? I know there are so many free websites out there that offer fantastic fiction and informational texts that you can easily find two more very quickly, print them all three, and give all of your students a choice. They're all doing the same thing. They're all reading the passage and identifying the main idea and details and filling out the graphic organizer. Why not let them choose which passage they want to read? Next on the list is genre. Believe it or not, genre can absolutely impact a student's ability to comprehend. If a student is growing up in a household that is very, very heavy on reading nonfiction, they're going to have a higher ability when reading nonfiction in the classroom. You know, on the flip side of that, maybe fiction will be of a struggle for them. They're not going to understand what all is entailed in a fiction type text structure, or, you know, how to identify those story elements, and so on and so forth. Some genres over or more than others are going to be easier and harder for your students. And it's important to find that out early. That way you can help kind of on both ends. I'm going to give my students genres that they understand, because they're going to be more motivated with that and they're going to be more successful. But then I also can look at the other side of it and go, wow, these are genres that my students have not had exposure to. We're going to slowly start introducing these, and I'm going to give a lot more scaffolding on them due to the fact that they don't have that kind of exposure to them. Going kind of along with genre, our next one is text structure. Text structure, believe it or not, absolutely has a direct impact on a student's ability to comprehend. When I say text structure, I don't just mean nonfiction text structures, sequencing, compare, contrast, cause and effect, descriptive, all of those. I'm also referring to fictional text structures. When you think about fictional text structures, yes, your mind should go straight to the normal like plot diagram, but there are a lot of other elements within fictional text structures that students may not be familiar with. Flashbacks, flash forwards, things like prequels and sequels and things like that could be embedded inside a story that when they're reading it, they really don't understand what's going on. And that can then impact their comprehension. Next on our list for things that impact comprehension is culture. And it's not just about historical culture or current culture of a student's home life, or where they came from, and how they live, and what they dress and eat and wear. Okay, but it's also about culture as far as the language goes. Think about figurative language, right? A student who is unfamiliar with English or American figurative language, when they read that in a text, they're not going to understand what that means. They're going to be very literal when they read these words, and it's going to be very confusing to them. Same to go with slang. Think about the slang terms that we use. And I don't mean slang as in a negative way. Simple things when you say something like, come on. The words come on, come and on together, that phrase means something, but that's slang for, come with me. So just simple little phrases and things that we say in everyday non-academic language, which could be things that they find in the stories that they're reading. That right there can be confusing to them because that's not a part of their culture. All right, next on the list is memory and responsiveness. I put these two together because they kind of go hand in hand. But memory and a student's age actually are very much directly related. The younger the student, right, the less memory they have, which is why we don't require our students to sit and listen to chapter-long books when it comes to comprehension. We want to give them something more short and sweet because their memory is completely established. But when you think about students, even in the higher grades, if they're having trouble with comprehension, memory could be a factor. They're not able to remember all of those minute details that go into the story or the text that they are currently reading. Another area is discussion. Reading is a very closed process, meaning that when I read, for example, I'm not reading out loud. I'm not talking out loud through my thoughts and through the process of which, is reading. Therefore, no one hears it. So we need to make sure that we are showing our students all of the pieces when it comes to reading. And that, in order to do that, we have to do it through discussion. True comprehension isn't that one-way street. It doesn't happen just with one viewpoint. So if we want them to comprehend on a much deeper level, then it's going to take more viewpoints than just the reader and just the author in order to get there. So as teachers, we need to understand that discussion does impact comprehension in a good way, and we need to allow time and be very intentional about allowing students to discuss text when they are reading. Number 9 area of impact for comprehension is access to instruction. A reader needs access to a teacher who understands reading. We can't rely on our district or our school to provide us with that PD. We need to take it upon ourselves to do things like this and read books and take courses or do whatever we need to do to continue that. And then finally on my list tonight is one that we all know, but that of course is fluency. We still can teach those struggling readers, those striving readers, who struggle with fluency, we can still teach them to think. And that way they can still work on the comprehension aspect while simultaneously working on the fluency aspect. And then when the fluency gets there, they're not having to get caught up from the comprehension. They're going to have that hand in hand. But if you have questions about any of them individually, drop me a comment below and let me know. If you agree or disagree, or maybe what would you add to the list? I'd love to know that too. I can't wait to hear what you think. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, friends. Bye.